Fight week is here with the 5v5 card happening this coming Saturday in Saudi Arabia, tonight, tomorrow, depending on what part of the world you live in, which is Deontay Wilder versus Zhilei. And let's talk about it, man. So I've been going back and forth about this fight in my head, and I know that it's not on the level, obviously, of Fury Usyk or those type of fights that everybody loves to talk about. But both of these guys are knockout punchers, the biggest punchers in the entire heavyweight division, which is the top of the line of the weight classes. So whatever fights these guys are in, it's always going to be a level of danger, obviously. But I've been thinking about it, and I've been thinking that Wilder would win. I've been thinking that Zhang would win. But I wanted to talk about one thing, which was the weight discrepancy that everybody has been raving about, where they're like, oh, but look at that weight discrepancy. Zhang is 280 pounds. Deontay is 214 pounds. Now, I could understand it too, and obviously it's going to play a moderate role in the whole thing, but I don't see Zhang as that type of style of fighter where he's going to push around guys like Wilder with his weight, very similar to Tyson Fury, fighting dirty. I don't think he has the energy for that at his age. And there's another way that he could do it instead of just pushing around Wilder like that. All he really needs to do is land that left hand, and Wilder needs to let go his right hand at the same time as well, obviously, of course. But I think that this fight is definitely going to depend on the stamina, of course, of Deontay Wilder. But Zhang coming in at 280 something pounds is kind of bad to me at the same time, because you don't know like if Wilder is going to have the resolve or will to pull through those knockdowns, because I do see Wilder hitting the canvas at some point in this fight, one or two times maybe, very similar to how Joseph Parker got hit by Zhang. But I could also see Zhang, if Wilder lets that right hand go, because Wilder has a lot on his head right now where this could be it for him, boxing wise. His whole career, he could just move on from here on out. But he does have something looming around him, that Anthony Joshua fight. And I know that that fight has been dead in the water, but I think that there's some unfinished business between those two, and I think Anthony Joshua is thinking the same thing too, where he wants Wilder to win. He was hoping that Fury would win. I could see it in his face too when that Usyk Fury fight was happening. But there's like a connection between Joshua and Wilder being a former champion. Excuse me. I think that's going to channel into his resolve, where he is probably going to survive those knockdowns if he doesn't get knocked out, because Zhang has that much power, keep in mind. And Wilder has been through some very tough fights in the past, where obviously the Fury fights took a lot out of him, wear and tear, everything. And they took a lot out of Fury too, believe it or not, whether everybody wants to accept it or not. So this fight could go two ways, where Zhang could just end Wilder within the first half of the fight, or Wilder could actually have the will to wane off Zhang's onslaught and take him to deep waters in the 7th or 8th round, and end up landing that right hand that he couldn't let go of in the Parker fight. And there's a possibility that both of those scenarios could happen, but which one am I leaning towards? I'm going to lean towards Deontay Wilder having the last ounce of resolve he needs to get through this fight, so that way he can make it to the bigger fights that are looming above him. Obviously, of course, the Anthony Joshua fight, but just this whole just his whole career, of him being a former champion, and this is really a lot has to do with resolve in this fight rather than his skill. Obviously, he's not on the same level as Usyk. They live in different universes, but at the same time, man, like I gotta be very objective about this, where Wilder could actually um survive some of this stuff that Parker did, because Parker was also a former champion too. He's not just gonna fold like that. Joe Joyce was never a champion, but he folded against Zhang. So I don't see that in Wilder, because Wilder does have a big heart, man, regardless of what everybody thinks of him. And I think he's going to end up pulling it out in the late rounds, but he's going to get hurt many times in the fight. He's going to get knocked down. And there's going to be times where one of these guys is going to get hurt so badly that it's going to be controversial on how they were able to survive that particular part of the fight, or segment of the fight, I mean. So I think that Wilder is going to take Zhang to deep waters, because I think this is kind of a big mistake that Zhang is making, where he put on a little too much weight, because we've seen already that putting on too much weight like that, and if you're not going to have that energy like how Fury did, pushing around Deontay, then what's the point of putting on that much weight, Because I've never seen Zhang use dirty tactics or anything like that, pull a Vladimir on him, So, like how Tyson Fury would fight Wilder in the second fight. So either ways, man, like I think Wilder is going to survive enough to get him past the 7th or 8th round, and he ends up landing some right hands on Zhang, and this is going to give Wilder the biggest boost of confidence he's had in years, and I'm talking about years, probably since the third Fury fight, when Fury got knocked down by him again after not being able to knock him down in the second fight. So I could see Wilder having that spirit being revived in him again, and Zhang being too tired, man, because he looked real bad when he got tired against Joseph Parker. So that's what I'm kind of afraid of when I was going to pick Zhang, because if you're getting tired like that against Wilder, then that's going to be a big problem, man. So I'm kind of leaning towards Wilder because of that, man, because I don't want I know this could end up being a Zhang knockout or stoppage within the 6th round, but man, Wilder could still be dangerous if he does land that right hand, and he's already had that experience with southpaws, and I know that the dimensions are different between Luis Ortiz and Zhang, but keep in mind, man, I mean, Zhang doesn't really move around like that, but he is still dangerous. He has incredible timing, but I think the stamina is going to be a big problem in this fight. But personally, I'm picking Deontay Wilder by a stoppage in the 10th round. So let me know in the comment section what you think about this fight. Who are you picking? Are you picking anybody by knockout? Or are you going to be that very few 1% that think it's going to go the full 12 rounds? And is it going to be a barn burner? Is it going to be a competitive fight? Let me know in the comment section. And I know what everybody is thinking. Oh, but this guy's been getting his heavyweight predictions wrong. Hey, man, I mean, I'm trying to be as objective as possible, breaking it down to the minuscule details that I could break it down to, regardless if I get it wrong or not. But maybe I am overanalyzing. Maybe I am kind of cynical about certain outcomes where I have to be too realistic about things, but at the same time, like, I'm overanalyzing. But at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, these guys are very dangerous punchers, and anything could happen at heavyweight. So I'm not afraid to make bold predictions like this, of course. So I'm picking Wilder by a very hard, grueling stoppage from behind victory. So Until then, I'm out. Peace.